Saturday, May 11th, Bellator 221. Welcome to Fanside. Michael Chandler. Do you remember your first Bellator fight? Do you remember what number that was?
Oh, shoot. Bellator 40-something? So now we're at 221. Was it?
31. 31.
There you go, 31. Yeah, it was Lake Charles, Louisiana, maybe?
That could be.
Something like that.
Do you remember who you beat?
Chris Stapp? No. Chris Page.
You were I got it down as Scott Stapp. Does that sound right?
Scott Stapp, the lead singer of Creed. One of those. Scott Stapp is the lead singer of one of those bands. It was like Creed, or it was like something like that. Yeah, it was Creed. But it wasn't that Scott Stapp.
Right,
yeah.
I got it. I saw you talking the other day, and you said you feel even more in shape now, better, like it's almost like the sport hasn't sort of taken it all out of you, that you're just as ready to go now as you were then.
Oh, absolutely. I think everybody talks about sports in general. We get caught up in this, it's an advantage to be young. It's an advantage to be youthful. It's an advantage to be young and vibrant. Now, in a lot of senses, I think that's true. I think a lot of people in all sports take a lot of toll. The sports takes their toll on your body. Sport takes a toll on your emotional state, your spiritual state, your brain. But for me, once I hit 30, I feel like I was finally starting to scratch the surface of my potential. I mean, I don't think in the sport of mixed martial arts, when you're young, your body is great, but your brain is mush, and then you kind of flip that. You get a little bit older, and your body starts to slow down maybe a little bit, and then your brain becomes your greatest weapon. But for me, once I hit 30, I really felt like a real athlete, a real man. Like I actually grew into this body, and I feel like I'm the best athlete I've ever been at 33.
So would you say that, just to put that in layman's terms, like in the cage, things are slowing down for you, even though things are not very slow out there?
Yeah, no, they're extremely fast. I mean,
Right.
and I always talk about it. It's like you're being tied onto a tornado, and that's really what it is, because it's such a crazy sport. I've beaten guys at the drop of a hat. I've lost at the drop of a hat. It's just a crazy sport. But things do start to slow down because you train them, and you have that law of 10,000 hours. You've been in those interactions and in your sparring sessions and in your fights for 10,000 hours. You become an expert.
When you look back at moments where you lost quickly, or versus when you won in 30 seconds, is there any like recurring theme that's, oh, this is why that happened? Can you even?
No, it's just so sporadic, and it's so crazy, and I always say you have to be okay with the uncertainty that's about to happen. Stepping onto a baseball diamond, or stepping onto a basketball court or a hockey rink, somewhat predictable in a lot of senses.
Yeah.
But with a mixed martial arts fight, it's one man versus another man. There's no team around you to come save the day whenever you get in a bad spot, and you are labored with the task of making split-second decisions inside of a cage with millions of people watching and a ton of pressure. So,
how much has your process changed before a fight, like just a day of, from when you started to now, and handling the anxiety, fear, excitement of all of it? That you're about to step into that.
Fortunately for me, I came from the sport of wrestling, both high school and then collegiate wrestling. I'm very well versed in one man versus another man competition in front of a lot of people. Yeah. All the pressure's on you. Everything, you live and die by the sword. If you get your hand raised, it's because you got your hand raised. If you lose, it's because you lost. So I've always tried to keep it very light. I always keep very positive, very supportive, very loving people around me. I mean, I have 4 or 5 people around me that don't really know much about mixed martial arts. They can't bring anything to the table aside from love, support, service. Just like I would love, support, and perform acts of service for them if it was one of their big events. So I keep light people around me, keep the mood light. Just realize that all the hard work is done. The fight is already won or lost. There's really not much I can do besides go out there and perform at the best of my abilities. And I'm not going out there trying to beat my opponent, trying to win every position. I'm going out there just trying to fight to my full potential. Because if I can fight to my full potential, if I can outperform my previous self, it's a good night in the cage.
I know that you've been training extremely hard for what's coming up now Saturday night. You haven't had a meal that you've enjoyed in 11 weeks, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the good thing is, I think my worldly, fleshly desires, of course, I want the pizzas and the ice creams and the Chipotle burritos and all the bad stuff,
Good
right?
choices. I like that.
But I mean, I think I did say that, but it's a little bit of a stretch. I mean, luckily, this sport has afforded me the opportunity to eat very well and take care of my body and enjoy creative ways to make bland foods such as chicken, broccoli, ground beef, cauliflower, sweet potato, these things that are normally, health bland foods, and take them and get a little bit culinarily creative with them and try to make them as tasty as possible. But yeah, I mean, after this fight, I'll definitely enjoy a little bit of better food.
I saw you walk in and you had a jug of it looked like purple water
To electrolytes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So which is good. I'm on a strict kind of hypersaturation, protocol right now with electrolytes and drinking a couple gallons of water here and there and going to the bathroom every 20 minutes or so.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Things are flowing. All right.
Yeah.
So Patricio Pitbull, okay, first off, he doesn't like you very much. Now, you don't make it personal, but it seems like he has.
Yeah, and everybody's motivated by different things, depending on their upbringing, depending on their past, their present, their future, where they are. I mean, I think Patricio Pitbull, the thing I respect about him a lot is when he steps into the cage, he's coming to take your head off. And I think a lot of that comes from his upbringing. I mean, he grew up in the streets of Brazil. He was not afforded the life that I had growing up in Missouri, with a secure roof over my head, mom and dad who took care of me and whatnot. So he's literally fighting for his life every time he steps into the cage, and he has taken that, and that's what drives him, that's what motivates him. And we have some history. I beat his brother twice. Blood is very, very thick, very, very thick
right.
in the Pitbull family, and they protect their own, and he has made it very clear he wants to fight me and he wants to take my head off. So I've tried to not make it personal. I've tried to stay focused on the task at hand. The task at hand is go out there May 11th, get the dominant win, collect my paycheck, kiss my wife, and go enjoy some fun.
So it's interesting your background because you were this honor roll student. You played football. You wrestled. Do you have to almost earn some level of street cred because you had this I don't know, like a lot of people in your business they don't come from that level of background.
No, I mean a little bit, but I think luckily talk is cheap in this sport. You can say whatever you want, but when you step into the cage and you bite down on that mouthpiece, and it's time to prove yourself in the greatest, most unforgiving proving grounds in the entire world, which is locked into a cage with another human being, you can earn your stripes pretty quick. And I did that right out of the gate. Came in 2009, jumped right into the professional ranks, and then 18 months later was fighting Eddie Alvarez for the Bellator lightweight title, who was ranked top 3 in the world at that point. So I was tested by fire, and I came out smelling like a bed of roses on the other side. Yeah,
I'm wondering, do you regret that you didn't get to fight Alvarez more than you did?
That we had a third fight set up, and it's just the nature of this sport. I know Eddie is a tough competitor, a tough man who was not just going to pull out of a fight for no reason. He had a legitimate injury. He had legitimate concussion symptoms and stuff, and in stepped another guy and had to fight him. So, I wish him the best. But yeah, I definitely wanted to finish that trilogy. We both are 1-1 now, so I think the trilogy can happen someday. So we'll see if it happens.
So you're not pissed at Pitbull for the doping allegations? I mean, that would, if I was you, that would bother me.
Yeah, no, it does. It bothers me big time, because as a clean athlete, as a guy who does everything right, and that's somewhat the downfall of humanity these days. We look at what people are accomplishing, and when it's outside of the realm of what we think is possible, we're immediately prone to throw stones at that person and throw out false accusations because of our own insecurities and our own shortcomings. We want to throw stones at people who are high-performing athletes or high-performing businessmen and women, high-performing individuals. So it's one of those instances where it's just unfortunate because it goes to print and it goes to video and these things are written down. And I have an adopted 2-year-old son at home who someday will read these headlines that Patricio Pitbull says that Chandler's on BEDs and blah, blah, blah. And luckily for me, it's going to be very easy to look him right in the eye and say, no, son, that is a shortcut that I never decided to take. That is a temptation that was a temptation for a lot of people. But for me, I always said that my character, my reputation, and people's view of me is more important than any gold, any diamonds, any silver, any amount of money, any amount of wins on this earth. So, and hopefully he will try to conduct himself as a man in that manner as well.
Your folks get any credit for that?
Oh gosh, absolutely. Yeah, dad was a union carpenter. Mom was a secretary. I still to this day, I've never seen my dad. Well, if I was ever awake early enough to see my dad wake up, he's
wow.
never slept in past 5 a.m. You know, he's they're both extremely hardworking people. They both worked 2 and 3 jobs to make sure I had every opportunity, and that's why I'm sitting here today on this chair with you, because my mom and dad made the requisite sacrifices to make sure that me and my 2 brothers were taken care of. And you know, my dad's extremely proud. He built, rebuilt, and renovated the Levi's store right here on Michigan
Wow.
Avenue. So he's done all kinds of big projects all around the country, and they are one of the main reasons I'm sitting here today, so it's awesome.
How do they feel about you sitting here today and doing what you do for a living?
It's great, you know. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I'm very open about my past. I was not taught to do big things. I was not taught to think outside the box. I was a small guy from a small town who was taught to seek security, because you never quite know what tomorrow is going to bring. And luckily for me, I took that leap of faith when I was getting opportunities for scholarships to small Division II, Division III NAIA schools, and I said no. I have this tugging on my heart. I have this yearning that I should go Division I. I should walk on the Mizzou wrestling team, even if I'm a 5-year ride the bench guy, even if I'm the water boy, even if I'm the towel boy, whatever. I want to go and at least try my hand at the Division I highest level of wrestling. And went to Mizzou, ended up being a 4-time national qualifier, 4-time starter, team captain, and it was because of that decision and taking a chance on myself and disregarding the small guy from the small town mentality that I am here today, and they're extremely proud of me, and I'm extremely proud to be their son.
Did they think you could do it? Were they like,
I think they always believed in me, but I think the taste and the yearning for comfort was definitely something that ran deep, and it was something that I had to go against, and it was because it's not easy to say no. I'm going to do this. I know I sound crazy. I know every single one of you sitting here today, all of my closest of friends, everybody says no. Why are you going to do that? What if you fail? And I, in my mind, always had, but what if I don't fail? You know, and it was just a product of hard work and making that decision, and here I am today.
Well, it's also, you don't want to look yourself in the mirror knowing that I didn't put it all out there, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and that's what drives me now today. I mean, obviously, getting married and having a son, that changes things big time. But also, I can imagine and I can see it vividly right now. Me standing there, sweaty, in some arena somewhere. I had just taken my gloves off for the last time in the middle of the cage, and I'm in some arena somewhere, in some locker room, about to shower for the last time, maybe nursing my wounds, maybe I won, maybe I lost, I don't know, but I'm going to be at some arena somewhere. I'm going to have to look myself in the mirror and say, Michael, did you do everything you possibly could with the gifts that you were given? And I just pray to God that I can answer truthfully and honestly and without regret, because I know that day is coming. Once you get on this side of 30, you know that day is coming sooner rather than later. So I've got to make every decision I possibly can to make sure my body is in tip-top shape, my spirit is in tip-top shape, and my mind is in tip-top shape.
It sounds like you've done that to this point.
I have. I have a million regrets, you know.
Right.
The perfectionism of, hey, I wish I wouldn't have made this decision or that decision, and there's always more that you can do, and I think that's what all high-performing individuals do. They always know that there's more, but they're happy with what they've accomplished. They are proud of themselves for what they've attained, but they're always constantly looking toward the future to what can I do to make sure the future Michael Chandler can be more successful than he is today.
So learn and grow. It's a beautiful thing.
That's right.
You mentioned your son a couple of times there.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, as he gets a little older here, he's 2, he probably doesn't understand quite yet, but do you, like, just the thought of him watching you doing what you do, I mean, do you rattle around like, do I want that? Do I not want that?
No, I mean, I definitely want it. You know, it's who I am. It's what his dad has chosen to do. It's what God has called me to do, and it's the platform that I've been given. And you know, he knows what MMA is. You know, we don't have it playing a lot at the house because I don't want him to see that young. But he knows what MMA is. He says MMA. You know, is that what Daddy does? And he says MMA. You know, so it's kind of funny, and it's great, and it's who I am. And to anybody who would look at it and say, oh, well, you shouldn't expose your kid to that at that young of age. You know, we don't feel any conviction with it. We don't feel any problem with it. So it's a path that I have chosen, and it's a vocation that has afforded me a great life. So we're going to continue to do it.
Dad, I want to be a wrestler. What would you say?
I want him to be whatever he wants to be. You know, I mean, I think he is adopted. Birth mom was 5'11", birth dad was 6'2" ish. So like he's gonna be much bigger than me. So he's not gonna have to wrestle. He's not gonna have to do a sport or compete in a sport that has weight classes separating everybody. He'll be able to do probably the big man sports, the football, the basketball, those ones. So we'll see.
We'll not allow you to call it the big man because maybe you're shorter than the quote unquote big man. But what you do is pretty big man stuff.
I guess, yeah. I mean, well, that's either way. I'm going to be much smaller than him, but I want to stand tall in my faith, stand tall in my convictions, and stand tall in my character for him. Whether I am a foot shorter than him or not.
Key to victory on Saturday against Patricio.
Key to victory on Saturday is just be the best that I can be. I mean, I've been given some amazing gifts, and I've put in a phenomenal training camp, and I am well conditioned, I am well versed, and I'm a guy who's able to beat him in every single area. So I'm going to go out there in typical Michael Chandler fashion, bite down on my mouthpiece, swing for the fences, and hope for the best.
Great to talk to you. Good luck. 33 years old, so that's what now, 20 years of training, huh?
Yeah, 20 years. Yeah, started at 2000 and right at the year 2000-ish. So, yeah,
that's awesome. Great to talk to you.
Appreciate you.